The Barstar Podcast, hosted by Stephen O'Reilly, is a podcast about working musicians, their friends, and their opinions. Stephen is a musician in Louisville, Kentucky, who has... Wait a second. This guy's a drummer, not a real musician? Somebody gave a drummer a microphone for his voice? The hell? Unreal. Unbelievable.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Barstar Podcast. I am your host, Stephen O'Reilly. I want to thank you guys for coming back once again to hang out with me and check out the show. I hope some of you, or most of you, or maybe all of you, have gone and checked out the website, which is barstarpodcast.com. Gotten a couple emails, which is at barstarpodcast@gmail.com. So thank you guys for that. Noticed a couple of new stars and a new review. So keep that stuff coming. I greatly appreciate it. It just helps the show grow and it helps me grow. And wait, I'm already growing. I'm old. I'm getting fat. But whatever. It's another story for another day that I'm never going to tell. I hope everybody had a good week. I hope everybody is doing well. And as always, I hope you guys went out and did some shit. Please take a minute to check out my sponsor, Prophecy Inc., located in the ultra chic. Ooh, that's the worst one yet. Fantastic. Located in the fabulous Highlands in Louisville, Kentucky. Go in the shop, mention the Barstar Podcast, and you will get 10% off your tattoo by any artist in the shop. I got some pictures this afternoon, actually, of a former guest, a Barstar alumni, if you will. I will not mention him. He will tell me eventually when I can, but he sent me a picture today of the line drawing and the outline that is on his arm. He is in the chair as I speak into this microphone, so it's pretty cool. So again, make sure you check out the barstarpodcast.com and check out my sponsor, Prophecy Inc. This week on the show, I got to sit down with a buddy of mine named Todd Blankenship. Some of you in Louisville know him. A lot of you in Louisville actually know him. I did not know him very well. Him and I reconnected when Kevin McCreary passed away a couple years ago. We had briefly known each other when I first moved here, and then he was gone because he moved to LA, and we discuss all that in the episode while we are talking. But there's no social media issues, nobody listening to, no stories from the stage, there's none of that. It's just a pretty cool conversation between Todd and I. He's done a lot of shit that I had no idea that he's done, which is really, really cool. And like I said, we get into all that shortly. But before we get to my conversation with Todd, let me rephrase that. Stacy and I went to see Candlebox last Sunday. If you're listening to this on post day, which is Thursday, October 25th. This past Sunday, Stacy and I went to see Candlebox, and they kicked ass. And it was kind of cool because, for me, it was kind of cool because the drummer for Candlebox, who is on this current tour, is Dave Cruzen. Dave Cruzen, for those that do not keep up with who drummers are, he was the guy that played all the drums on the Pearl Jam debut record, 10. There's a lot of really cool parts on there, and he's the one that played all that stuff. And he also was in Mother Love Bone for a minute, if I'm not mistaken. So that was kind of cool to see him. But the other two guitar players and the bass player that the lead singer for Candlebox had with him was awesome. They put on a really good show. That was at the Mercury Ballroom. And the band that opened up for them was a band from Cincinnati called Brent James and the Vintage Youth. It was a very, very cool band. I really dig those guys. I do highly recommend you check them out. Really good band. The singer's got a great voice. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Peter Searcy. Some of you will know who Peter is. Some of you will not. Hopefully I can get Peter on the show eventually. But he's in kind of that upper register. A great singer, great front man. The whole band was really, really good. They put on a great show. I've listened to the record a couple times. They actually have 2 records and an EP. I've only been through 1 record, and forgive me, I can't remember the name of it right now. But I would highly suggest you guys go check out that band. Again, they are Brent James and the Vintage Youth. So that's all that I've got for right now. I've got some other stuff coming up. I've got some cool stuff coming up, but I don't want to bore you with all my silly details. But thank you again for all your support. You guys are awesome. And with that, let's get to my conversation with my buddy, Todd Blankenship. Look at all them numbers. Oh my God, that's so pretty. So I am hanging out with, who the hell are you again? What's your name?
Nobody, I'm just the writer. I actually want to buy a shirt that says I'm just the writer. That's all I really want to be. Just stuck in a room alone with my computer.
I just want to be a writer.
Yeah. Just leave me alone and let me go sulk in my room and write nasty things. Todd Blankenship. Otherwise known as J.T. Quinn. It's my nom de plume.
What, your nom de plume?
Yeah, if you look up Todd Blankenship, and you just won't find anything. It's like a internet void. Look up J.T. Quinn, there's like 8 credits.
Nice. Well, we will get into all that stuff because there's actually a lot about you I don't know.
A lot of people say that to me, oddly enough.
Well, I don't know if you realize this, but us on the outside of your circle, you don't talk much. You don't talk about the things you've done or that you're involved in. Kind of like a one person I know. What's his name? Jesse Vest. He's the same way. Jesse doesn't talk about shit. Oh, I do too. He was on the show. I love him, but he doesn't talk about anything.
I don't talk about a lot of stuff with a lot of. My past is kind of when I start dragging stuff up, I was not always the nicest dude.
That's okay. That's right. My wife tells me daily I'm an asshole. I'm like, I'm not an asshole. I'm just not sugar and spice.
Yeah, that's the part of my job that I don't like is the whole social networking.
Right.
That's absolutely essential. So.
I suck at it. So we're going to start at the beginning because my memory blows and my audience knows that, and you probably remember that.
Yeah.
I don't remember how we met. Let's see if you do.
I think you came down and started, you were playing with 99 MPH maybe?
Nope, never. No. Fail one.
Was you in a band with Jack? Were you in a band with Jack?
Later.
Okay.
He was in Tark Bus later, much later.
Tark Bus, that's what it was.
If I'm not mistaken, we met when I was in Heaven Hill.
Yes, we did, because I used to be the stage manager for Breckenridge. Mm-hmm. And then they split. I actually moved, that's right about the time I moved to L.A., mm-hmm. So I think we met a couple times while you were playing with them, but then I shortly after moved to California.
You did. Well, and that's why it was kind of funny because when Kevin passed, unfortunately, you were here for something and you walked up to me and you squeezed me really hard and I went, "Who are you?" You remember that?
I've got that face that everybody knows and like, but I don't know his name because he never speaks.
He doesn't talk much, but I know you. Yeah. But you moved to LA to be a writer.
Yeah, it's funny. I grew up just in love with film. Mm-hmm. I used to walk from my grandmother's house, which is right by the Basham Manor Mall.
Right. Now you're from here originally, though, right?
I grew up here. Okay. I was born at Baptist East, and then I lived here till I was like 7. And then we moved to Southern Indiana for a while, and I've since then bounced back and forth. But Louisville is what I call home.
Gotcha.
Even though I'm like a child of the plant trap, I've lived in like 14 states.
I'm with you,
3 separate countries.
I haven't done the country
thing. I'm such a
thing,
nomad, but Louisville's always been home to me. That's why we're actually moving back here next April.
Are you really?
Yeah, we're going to buy a house someplace. I've not figured out where yet, but
nice.
Yeah, I feel home here. All my really true friends are all from Louisville. I mean, I've got great friends in LA, but not the kind of friends I have in Louisville.
Right.
That was pretty cool. Fun.
So we are in a secret location that I cannot disclose yet. Mm. In the coming weeks on the show, kids, I will tell you where we are sitting right now.
Surprise.
Todd knows, but I'm not telling you freaks. Anyway,
so I've lived in LA for 13 years, right?
But you went out there to specifically write for movies, right?
Yeah, and I was a horrible writer when I moved out there, and I had no idea how bad it was. It was awful. You should see my first screenplay is just a fucking mess, man. There's 290 pages of just dribble. It's a really good concept, but screenwriting is an art all its own. It's not like any other kind of writing because it's so condensed.
Right.
Like you want to describe the world that you're in, but you can't do it in a whole ton of words because it bores people, especially in our business.
Right. I get that.
So it's all like, one sentence descriptives. Average room, works better than me describing the average room to a T.
Right.
Which you can do in a novel, and it's fine. You don't have time to do that in a screenplay, and it doesn't make a difference at all.
Right.
Like you write average room instead of, on the wall, there's a painted white, there's a black flag hanging. Nobody cares.
Right.
Like, it doesn't make a difference as I'm telling the story. All the difference comes in the dialogue. So
right.
They always talk about in screenwriting, you want to see more white on the page than black because it means you got a lot of dialogue in there. Actually,
no Frank Zappa black page.
No, man. But then you get people like one of my idols, Wes Anderson, who writes these beautiful descriptives and breaks every single screenwriting rule there is, and I love reading his scripts because they're so, you can see, he paints the world so well.
Right.
And then you get guys like Aaron Sorkin who it's nothing but dialogue. It's like 300 pages of script. I just took his master class and he's like, I haven't turned in a script that's less than 300 pages in years, but it's all dialogue. So it shoots a whole ton faster because people are talking. And he doesn't do descriptives at all.
Well, let me ask you this because I don't know. When that stuff gets, I guess, filmed or whatever, or put in production, do they bring in the team a team afterwards to bring the quote screenplay to life? If they're doing screenplay to life, it's easy for me to say. If they're doing, for example, what you just said, it's a whole 300 pages of dialogue. Do they bring in another team to go, okay, we got the dialogue part, now let's build the world, so to speak?
Well, no, it's all
works?
creative decisions that are made by the director and the production designer.
Gotcha.
So the world that they live in is created by the team on the set. So as a writer, it's a really difficult line because you want to get your world across, but you can't direct the actors or the director.
Gotcha.
So, I see it a lot, and I used to do it myself all the time. So I also read for a screenplay contest called the CineQuest Film Festival. And you see it a lot in younger writers that they just don't. They direct parenthetically, so they'll tell you where they want to cut or what emotion they want the actor to in parentheses. And it's like a newbie mistake that I used to make all the time.
Right.
So when you see that, that's the a new writer, and it's hard not to do that because you want your world out there, but it's really thin artistic line because films, unlike any other art, are like stupidly collaborative. And if you don't have everybody on the same page, knowing their job, and you have to have the argument about the world,
right?
But you also have to know when to just say, I'm a writer. Yeah. I'm just the writer.
I'm gonna shut the fuck up now.
Yeah. So it's weird. It's a totally different kind of writing that you have to study. And when I read these scripts in this contest, it's the thing that irritates me the most about who I used to be as a writer is I didn't. When I first thought I could write, and I still wrote very well, but not screenplay formatted style, which is a whole different beast. And now I can open up a file and instantly know if the person knows what they're doing.
Gotcha.
And without even reading a word, if it's I had a guy, a script I was reading the other day, and the person put quotes around every line of dialogue. You just, you don't do that. So then if they haven't taken the time to figure out proper formatting, then they probably haven't taken the time to figure out a lot of other stuff. So it's like, but then at the end, I'm like, I used to be that person. So I read, I've read this year, for this contest, I've read 76 scripts so far.
Oy.
And they average about 100 pages. And they get feedback on them too. But, I see a lot of who I used to be in these writers. So I take the time to read them all. But, man, it's like 8 a week. Sometimes it's hard.
Ooh, that's brutal.
Yeah. So,
well, and you were very what's the word? Gracious. You were gracious enough to read my book.
Oh, it was a great book too. Yeah.
No, I wasn't looking for a compliment, but thank you.
No,
But
yeah, no, I loved it.
well, the reason I brought it up before you were going to say what you were going to say is because you did that to me. You gave me ideas and you said, think about this, look at it this way, think about it from this perspective. And everything you gave me, I've gone back because I'm in my 8th or 9th round of edits, whatever the hell it is.
Oh, writing is rewriting. That's
Yeah, absolutely. But I've taken a lot of that stuff that you told me in those emails we had, and I went, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. I never thought about that. So it's cool to somebody like me, which I do not consider myself a writer. Right. I'm better at writing than I am talking.
You're a writer. That's what makes you actually a writer.
All right, then I'll take it.
You write.
You heard it here first, kids. I'm a writer. Yeah. I'm better at writing than I am at talking.
Yeah.
Like I can convey thoughts almost perfectly on paper, more than I can talking.
That's exactly why I'm a writer.
Because sometimes when I'm talking, I just get to the point where
my brain doesn't work in conjunction with my mouth.
Right, mine doesn't either. Because usually I just end up going fuck, and then I'm done. I don't even care at that point. Yeah. So, but it was cool. The reason I'm tying you reading my book into what you were just talking about, it's cool when you have somebody that's got experience and has gone through a bunch of shit that knows more than you about whatever the subject is. And then you can look back on it and go, well, try this, 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 and this. And you go, fuck, I never thought about that. Why didn't I ever think about that?
Well, yeah, that's
just
the thing.
Experience.
I'm
that's
always
all it
taking
is.
some kind of class. Mm-hmm. Like right now I'm getting 3 degrees in film. But I do it because...
You're smart.
Or
you're a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, probably that. I take these classes and I know 95% of the material, but I always find one little thing that makes me a better writer.
Right.
Like right now I'm taking this mythology in class and it's all about the hero's journey model and Joseph Campbell, and it's amazing. I love I get excited when I go to this class on Wednesday nights. I'm like, yay.
Hey, I gotta go class. Yeah. I gotta
go. And I love it, but it's writing. It's some people do it alone, but honestly, it's collaborative too. You have to have an editor or an audience that you trust,
right,
to get opinions, and you don't always have to listen to them, but it's valuable to have other people read it and really sharply critique you.
Yeah,
I've had the people that are just going, "Oh, that's great! It's awesome! It's the best thing ever."
I don't want me personally. I don't want that. I want you to tell me what's wrong with it, whatever it is, whether it's my book or my music or any of that shit. I've always been open to criticism, and like you, I won't. You don't have to listen to it, exactly what you just said, but at the same time, you should be open to it, because if you're not, you're never going to grow.
No, you consider it. Yeah, you got to. I think the best art comes out of great collaboration. Honestly, the best stuff is, but I mean, some people are just geniuses and can write, but like, say, some of my idols, writing wise, like Stephen King, love him. And he's got, he has an office in his house in Maine.
Right.
It's on the top floor of his house, and he goes up there to write. And on the walls going up, he has a spiral staircase he goes up, and on the walls going up are all these framed letters, and they're all rejection letters.
Right.
And he uses it as motivation as he climbs to his 3rd-story office in his giant house. People were brutal to him. Like, you should never write another word.
Right.
And I've gotten a couple of those, so I've got one framed.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice. I wrote the sitcom that I did like 5 years ago.
You were telling me about
an HBO version of it that had a lot of cussing, and whoever was reading it was just an angry person, and they were like, "The girl that you've written here is letting the band talk to them." Like, no girl, whatever. I'm like, no, she's not only till the end of this sitcom does she start to speak up for herself. And I'm like, okay, this is a sitcom pilot.
Right.
And if I start off with the perfect character, where's her journey? Like, she doesn't have one. But she was so angry that this woman was being talked down to by the band members. I'm like, I've spent time on the road.
That's real life.
It's kind of...
That shit happens.
Yeah, I know. She's like, and bands don't talk to each other like that either, because I had the guys like calling each other names and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah. I got in a fist fight with like 18 different band members I've been in bands with. Like, me and Frank Green got to a tussle, I think, in the back of, or maybe it was Scott, in Chattanooga, in the back of the box truck. We were loading our shit. And then the next day we're like, hey, I love you. It's how it is on the road.
It happens.
You get into each other sometimes.
Absolutely.
And she's like, oh, bands, they have more more respect for each other. I'm like, no.
No.
What rock band were you in that somebody didn't get cussed out on a daily basis?
I'll just say it now, bitch.
Yeah. So it's great motivation for me. I love it. When we were shooting that show, I had that in my briefcase every day.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Nice. I haven't framed any of mine, but I've gotten, I don't know, 9 or 10 rejections, but I have them saved in a folder.
Do you know
my email?
J.K. Rowling? I think she got turned down like 43 times.
Oh yeah. Well, my favorite author,
and now is the author of the biggest book series on the planet ever.
My favorite author, who my right arm sleeve is based off of. I saw her do I guess you could call it a Q&A, whatever. She talked for like 2 hours. It was awesome. But she started her whole thing with, she got rejected 227 times.
Yeah, you got to use no as motivation, honestly.
Yeah. Really. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And now every time, before she even releases a book, her pre-sale is number one on New York Times bestseller list first.
Awesome. Yeah.
Now, she's not as big and as well-known as the Harry Potter shit, but still, I mean, she's super successful. She's got 2 book series. I don't remember how many is in the other one, but the one I read is 26 books and 27's coming out next year.
Dude, if I can actually just make a living as a writer, I'd be the happiest person in the world. Just enough money to pay my bills. I wouldn't care. I don't have to make J.K. Rowling. I don't have to own a castle.
No, I agree. I do not have to own a castle either, nor do I want to. That's a lot of shit to
Actually,
clean.
we were going to try to shoot. There's a new distillery down in Frankfurt now called Castle and Key. And I tried to get hold of them. I was the one to shoot part of my upcoming feature. And they're like, we're not quite ready for a film yet. Yeah. Like, I want to use your castle in the middle of Kentucky because it's just freaking weird.
You talking about that castle in Versailles?
Yeah, I think it's done.
Yeah, I was supposed to have a private party booked there. I was supposed to play, and they came back. They rejected it because they weren't ready or something. I don't know.
That's what they told me too. Yeah. So.
No, we're not ready. Then why'd you rent out the venue?
Yeah, we're actually lucky. We're really lucky that. So the reason I'm shooting that movie here is because I know tons of people here, and I spent so long in the music industry. I'm like calling in every single favor I've ever had. Like, remember that time 15 years ago when that guy was going to punch you in the face and I said, move. You owe me.
you owe me.
Yeah,
you
come work for me for
face.
free.
Yeah. Come do me a salad.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do whatever you need. Just call me.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's, everything from like, we're using, so there's also a tax credit. And so here's something. I'm going to get up on a soapbox for a second.
Go ahead.
The state of Kentucky had last year a wonderful 35% tax credit for films. So what happens is, if you come into Kentucky and you shoot a film here, right, and you spend 80% of your budget in Kentucky, all right, they give you a tax credit on your taxes. So like my film is ultra low budget, so the budget is $250,000, right, which is not a lot of money. But
in movie wise, it's not. But
so not a lot. It's
in real life, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, especially when you're financing your own film. Don't do this at home, kids.
Don't try this.
Me and Kevin Smith are insane. So they give you that tax credit, but for some reason they don't think it's a good idea. So they've suspended the program. They're looking into it. They commissioned a research, and I've talked to Tim Bates at the film office, and he's like, look, last year they had $13 million worth of tax credits they gave out, and they brought in $50 million worth of income to the state. And if you look at like New Orleans and Atlanta right now, right, they're doing it. So
I know there's a lot of shit.
California capped their tax credit, and everybody started leaving. So that I have friends that are just moving to Atlanta because they're getting tons of work down there. I have 2 friends, really good friends. That my stunt coordinator on my current film, John Nania, he just got off. He did Pirates of the Caribbean and then the new Avengers movie, and then he was just on The Rookie, the new show with Nathan Fillion.
Oh yeah.
And he did them all back to back. He's like, I moved to Atlanta, I haven't stopped working since. And he lived in L.A. because they mess with the tax credit, but it brings in so much money. So I don't think that the legislature gets how it works really,
Right.
because they're not movie people. So, but this is the kind of program that brings jobs to a place that needs jobs.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you're talking about everything from above the line producer work to just blue collar grip work. It's hundreds of jobs in a film and millions of dollars. And if you push that program, you just get more and more and more.
Yep.
And then like they're building studios in New Orleans. Now, New Orleans or Louisiana stopped doing it for a year, and every studio left. And then they brought it back, and now they're building actual studios in New Orleans now because it's so easy to make movies there.
Right.
And I would think that Louisville would want to be that way because we have such a great art scene here.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, we have the Kentucky Arts Center is just wonderful programs. The music scene here it's always been like a nationally hidden gem.
It is, and I've been here 11 years because I'm a transplant, and I've seen it. I call it the roller coaster.
Yeah, it ebbs and flows, but
yeah,
it's, you can always find solid musicians here.
Right. Well, what I was going to say,
the best musicians in the world I've ever seen are from Louisville.
I would agree with that. What I was going to say is probably the last year it's been down, and now it's climbing back out. Yeah. I've seen this 2 or 3 times since I've been here, so I think the music scene is going to explode again, like it was when I first got here 11 years ago. I love editing. It's going to explode like it was when I first got here. But the reason I bring that up is because if you've got a great music scene and a great art scene, and then that whole creative dynamic, and then you start bringing in film and TV, or however you want to word it. I mean,
they feed off each other.
Fuck yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It just makes it a better place. So I actually call Louisville to me is a tiny version of LA. It's LA without the frickin' traffic. It really is. Because you get really solid concerts, especially since they put the Yum Center in, so you get really good national concerts come through. I mean, it's always kind of been that way. But you have touring productions of Broadway stuff that come through the Arts Center. You've got really good museums here, so it's a cultural town.
Yeah,
and then it's becoming a foodie town, so the restaurants are amazing here now. I'm like, and that's why we're moving back, because I don't need to live in LA anymore because I know enough people. But it's just, I love LA, but traffic, dude.
I don't know. I've heard.
My God. It controls your life.
I've heard. Well, it's funny when people, and even though I've been here 11 years, I'm used to it. But it's funny when people bitch about traffic here because
they do.
I'm like, dude,
I'm like, seriously, it takes me like 30 minutes to go across this town in the worst traffic. I love this place.
Yeah, I moved up here from Atlanta. Fuck you guys. You don't have. So
here's how bad LA is. I live 12 miles from the beach.
Right.
I've been there once this year. Because it's just a pain in the ass to drive
2 hours
miles.
to get there.
It's 2 hours there, 2 hours back
to go 12 miles.
Yeah,
might as well walk.
If you go on the weekends, everybody's at the beach.
Right.
So it's stupid packed. But if you go during the weekday, the traffic sucks.
I can't believe though that. Well, I mean, I guess I can because it's probably the way the city's built that their transit system isn't better. Stacy and I went to New York in July, and she had never been.
Public transit is great there.
Yeah, I've been to New York a few times. It's my favorite place in the world. But it's amazing how many fucking people live in that city. And yes, there's traffic problems, but you don't have a shit ton of traffic problems because everybody either walks, takes the subway, rides a bus, whatever. And it's really cool.
LA is so spread out, though. You have to have a car.
That's true.
You can do public transportation there, but it's so spread out. It takes forever. It's just, it's almost as long as driving to get on a subway. But everybody in LA likes that independence of driving.
All right.
So
everybody in LA is so independent.
I just stay home, man. I really I don't go out much because I just hate driving in traffic. I'm very
hermity.
I'm not the nicest driver.
You're filled with quiet road rage.
Yeah, I don't really chase people down, but I've stopped. It's got so bad that I've stopped flipping people off and started giving them the thumbs up instead because it makes me smile. And I get so aggravated all the time. I went the other direction with it, so you're number one. I love you, man. Instead of go fuck yourself, you asshole. Just cut me off. Because you wanted to cross 3 lanes and,
You're number one.
Yeah, I mean, I got hit by that driver. Like 2 years ago, I got hit by the guy who was too busy to fucking turn into his lane, and he turned into my lane.
I was going to work the other day. This total squirrel moment. There's a big giant hole on the ramp to 64 off of 264. And when I say big giant hole, it's as wide as a car.
Holy crap.
And this chick cut over three, easy for me to say. I can't talk today. It's Sunday, that's why. This chick cut over 3 lanes of traffic and hit that thing. Wham! And I heard, she was probably 10 car lengths from me, and I heard her hit it, and I heard both of her front tires pop.
No kidding.
That's how hard she hit that thing trying to cut over.
Pac-Man them?
Yeah, I was like, you dumb bitch.
That's what you get for cutting over
that's
3 lanes.
Get. You know, you could have went down one more exit to Breckenridge and did a loop and just came back up.
That's the thing that kills me. It's like nobody's concerned with anybody else but them. Like, I want to do this right now.
Yeah, I have to do this now. I'm the most important person ever.
Yeah.
So that's how.
No, I'm not me. I'm like, I will go, I'm too lazy to turn there. I'm going to come back. Just watch it. Yep, miss my exit. I'll drive 5 more miles, turn around. It's the greatest thing about being self-employed is like, I really don't even need a clock or a calendar.
Right.
Unless I have something like this where I got to be someplace on time.
Yeah.
And then I've got an assistant who tells me where I'm supposed to be. So
I'm like, shit. I was talking about that with Stacy a couple of days ago. When I wrote my book, I didn't have a day job. I took a year and a half off work or whatever, and all I did was gig and write my book, and it was awesome because I was still up early. I was up by 7-ish, 7:30, and 8:30 or whatever, by hour after I'm fully dressed. I'm sitting at my computer, I'm writing, and then I'm looking at the clock, and it's 3 PM. I went, sweet. I don't have anywhere to be. I'm gonna take a nap.
It's kind of liberating, right? Like when I first started doing it,
is.
I was like, I should be worried. What am I supposed to be doing? Oh, nothing. This is awesome.
Oh yeah. There's no
anywhere to be.
There's no pressure. There's no stress.
But
but I still got shit done, which was cool.
Well, that's the thing is, and kudos to you because a lot of people want to be the writer, and to me, it doesn't matter if you're published or not. If you finish something, you are a writer. But you have to sit down and do it.
Oh yeah.
And that's the problem with most people is they procrastinate it because they think, and I had this problem too. They think that when they sit down, they have to write the perfect page, and that doesn't exist.
No, absolutely
I mean, the
not.
first draft you ever write of anything should just be absolute crap.
I would agree.
And somewhere in writing that crap, you'll find a diamond.
Right.
And then you take that and throw everything else away and work off. And that's how you get good ideas. But if you don't treat it like a job, because it's a job.
Oh, yeah.
You don't do it.
I wrote 6 days a week when I took that year and a half off. Yeah. The Sunday was the only day I didn't write.
And that
and usually because
couple 100-page book that you got, you probably really wrote a couple 1,000 pages.
Oh, yeah.
Before you even got your first draft.
Oh, yeah.
And then you just got to set it to the side and come back and really harshly criticize your own work, and a lot of people don't have the courage to do that.
No, and that's why I did it the way I did it. And I can't. I don't know what number you are. You're like 35 or 34 in my episodes. I don't know. I started in January, so
I know, it's so cool. I've always wanted to do a podcast, but I'm too lazy.
It's because you ain't got no schedule.
It takes effort and work, and
yeah, but you could. Here's the beauty. Just FYI, you could do it at home. You still have to leave.
I'm just not. I'm not as interesting as you.
Dude,
I've got like one good show of me, and I'm done.
No, I'm not. I'm not interesting. I have very weird outlooks on shit.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm interesting. I think I'm slightly on some days kind of sort of humorous, but that's it.
No, I love your show. It's actually really fun.
Thanks.
Honestly, there's a lot of my friends on it. So
True.
I saw people that I know. I'm like, I know those guys. They're famous.
True. But what I was going to say is, I don't know if I've talked about this on the show or not. I know I've talked about dropping out of high school 3 times and all that, and I got my good enough degree. But if I've told this story, you guys bear with me. This is for your benefit because you're sitting in front of me. When I dropped out of high school 3 times, I left home at 13. So it was roof, food, or high school. Fuck high school. I wanted roof and food.
Yeah,
so when I got into adulthood, my mid-20s or whatever, I went to I forgot the name of the fucking college, some kind of technical college. Anyway, I was going to take a bunch of English courses because even though I was always playing, I was like, well, I need to do something else to come up with some sort of backup plan. I never wanted to be a quote writer. I was thinking, well, maybe I could do some editorial stuff or newspaper stuff or whatever, not journalistic or any of that shit. I didn't have a whole plan. But the point of the story I'm getting at is I took an English 100 course. And the first day or the first week, whatever it was, we had to write some sort of essay about something. I don't remember any of that. The point is, when I turned it in, the professor took me outside and he goes, I need to see you outside. And I was like, oh, fuck, man. I've been in school a week and a half. Come on, bro.
Did I write something that pissed him off?
What the fuck did I do now? And he takes me out in the hall and he shut the door and he says, what are you doing here? And I said, learning? I hope. He goes, no, I'm serious. What are you doing here? And he hands me my paperback. And it was like A with 4 pluses or whatever, like the chick from Christmas Story. plus. And he said, you need to be in English 102. And I said, I'm sorry, do what?
Right.
He said, yeah, you don't need to be in this class. I don't know why you're here. And I went, dude, I'm not going to English 102. I'll stay in English 100 and be done with the rest of you fuckers. The point is, that's one small regret I have. I should have went ahead and bit the bullet and just took it and went to 102 just to see if I could do it.
That's right down the street, man. Go back.
Fuck that. That's where the whole writing a book kind of stemmed from, because after I went through my divorce, I kept thinking about that. I was like, what if I went to English 102? What would have happened?
See, I made this commitment to myself when I was like 26 years old. I literally looked at myself in the mirror.
Did you just use the L word? That's the second time. I didn't catch you the first time.
Oh, did I say like?
Literally.
Literally. Yeah, it means literally.
Lame.
So I looked at myself in the mirror. I'm old. I got to keep with my thought or I lose it. I'm like, what was I thinking about? Tell me what I was saying 3 seconds ago.
You were 26 and you looked at yourself in the mirror.
So I said to myself, 26-year-old self, I never want to look back on my life and say, I wish I would have.
Right.
So that's one of those, I wish I would have moment. And I
don't have many of those.
I do dumb stuff because I don't want to say, I wish I would have.
I honestly and legitimately don't have many of those. I have like maybe 3 in my entire life.
What I did, and one of mine was not finishing my degree from U of L.
Right.
So I went, and I'm getting 3 degrees now. At the same time. And they're all like degrees nobody cares about. So like,
but you care.
Nobody in the movie industry cares if you have a screenwriting degree or a directing degree, or as long as you can write, they could give a shit, man.
Right.
It's more for me than just
no,
like challenging myself.
I get it. I don't have a whole lot of regrets in life, and that was one. And it's not even a big one. It's like a smidge of one, because I don't know where it would have taken me. Because music and drums will always be first for me. That's a fucking given. But I don't know where it could have taken me if I would have pursued it. Right. I mean, maybe I could have got into journalism. I don't know. Maybe I'd have loved it.
I've never had any desire to be. I always get people ask me if I want to write articles for a magazine. I'm like, no, not really. Not even. No desire. There's the travel blog place that wanted me. I'm like, I love to travel, but I really don't want to write about it. No, not so much.
Well, I get it. I don't know if I would want to write every day, like normal writing. I mean, and I'm by no means complaining about writing my book, but it was a fucking bitch.
It's labor, man.
And I think it was a bitch because I had to write about me.
Right.
Does that make sense? But I had to make you've read the book, so you know that it's not, quote, whoops. I'm sitting right next to my drum kit. So you've read my book, so you know that it's not about me. It's about my musical journey. But just I still had to wade through all the shit of my life.
See, I think it's a lot deeper than that. I think it's obviously your book and it's about you, but I think it resonates. I love the name Barstar.
Shanks.
Because it's
what I am.
But it's a million people across the United States, men and women, black and white. And it's how they make their money and. But they do it out of love for the art. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it takes a real love for something that once you realize I'm not going to ever be the rock star that I wanted to be when I was a teenager and playing in stadiums. I'm not going to be Bono.
Well, especially now that shit doesn't exist. There's no music business.
Yeah, it's such a hard industry. It's music and film, the 2 hardest industries in the world.
True, but I will say from an outside perspective, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but at least film as a majority compared to the music industry, at least film people still make money.
Well, it's yes and no. It's a changing beast with Netflix and Amazon. I love some of their models and the way they're like. I just read an article and we hear that that Amazon just spent $250 million to buy just the rights for the Lord of the Rings series that they're doing. And that's before they spent a penny on production. But the only reason they can do stuff like that is because filmmakers like me who make small indie movies, they buy those properties up and they appropriate them as new content, and they do it all over the world, and then they release them globally. So they're buying. I watch so much stuff from like Britain. I just got done watching the show called Norsemen. Have you seen it? It's like a comedy. It's a Viking comedy. It's like Vikings, like the TV show Vikings. They're fully dressed, like sets and everything. They go to battle, but it's so fucking funny. It's always awkward silence moments. Like they cut one guy's hands off the other day, then he got metal hands. It's just funny.
I love British humor.
I do too. So I've been most of the shows I watch now are from different parts of the world. My wife is Thai, so we watch Thai stuff.
Right.
And we watch a lot of Korean shows. And
do you watch A Good Doctor?
No, I've not seen it.
The only reason I ask is because it's adapted, I think is the right word. Yeah, it is. It was adapted from a Korean television show.
Oh, cool.
That was on, 20 years ago. And the premise is the doctor, one of the main characters is a surgeon, but he has severe autism. So he's kind of a fruitcake in a funny way because he doesn't understand like normal shit.
He's got no social boundaries.
Yeah, nothing at all.
Those are fun
You're
characters.
gonna die, and I was just like, wait, what? But the way they write it, and Freddie, I think it's Freddie Sizemore. Shit, I can't remember the actor's name. Doesn't matter. Point is, it's a great show, but it was adopted from a Korean TV show. It was really cool. Stacy and I watch it. We love it.
The Koreans are big right now on like. Have you heard of food porn?
I've heard the terms.
They have these TV shows now, and they're great, and we watch them. But a lot of them center around like restaurants or meals, and they'll do these long, exaggerated shots of them putting the noodles in their mouth or like eating a piece of cake. It's like oddly sexual food eating.
Fully dressed though.
Oh yeah, fully dressed, and they're all like slurping it in. Oh, this is so good. It's fucking great, man.
I thought you were gonna tell me it was naked chicks with sushi all over them.
It's starting to make its way here. So watch like TV shows you're watching now. They'll have those kind of scenes in them because people dig that shit. They like food. So if you food porn it up a little bit in your production, you get a couple extra hits.
You said food porn and extra hits.
That's right.
I love you for that.
Oh man, I'd say this film that I'm making now.
I was going to ask you about that.
It's opened my mind to such weird stuff. It's the first horror movie I've ever done, and I didn't realize. I went back and looked at all my ideas all the stuff I've written. I didn't realize how much horror. 60% of the stuff that I have ideas about are horror movies. I had no idea. And it kind of shocked me because I don't like slasher films.
Right.
I like thriller, suspense, Alfred Hitchcock kind of things with
a
little blood in them, but I'm not a big Jason.
No, I
fan,
can't stand
like
horror movies.
Amityville Horror, like stuff that could really happen. Like possession and religious things. They scare the crap out of me because they're real.
They could be, yes.
So this one I'm doing, it's called You Should Run.
Can I walk instead?
Yeah.
I got fucked up knees, bro.
I too, dude. I just got a brand new knee.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, it's shiny. Look at that.
Dude hit me. I got a brand new knee. It's.
I just called your knee shiny.
It's a
that was
thriller
weird.
horror. Yeah, it's kind of shiny. I can't. You know what aggravated me most about getting this?
What?
I now can't use my TSA pre-check. I have to go through.
Damn
I'm like, I wasted $80. And I still got to take my damn computer out of my bag because my knee sets off the metal detector.
Fuck you. Fuck. Anyway, back to the movie.
Oh yeah, so it's a thriller horror, and it literally is my commentary on how far people will go to increase their social media profile, and how people take religion and twist it to what they want it to be. So it's about a family that's like a nuclear family of 4,
right?
Who makes their living as a YouTube family, and they want to they hire a photographer to go to and photograph their family getaway in the woods for the weekend. And when they get to the woods, they hunt the photographer and her assistant live on the internet for sport. And they take bets around the world globally. And it turns out the mom is the leader of this cult that believes that Mary was the chosen one and not Jesus. And she believes she is a direct descendant of Mary herself. She calls herself the mother.
You're a twisted fuck.
It is fucking... but it's... I mean, I based it kind of on the snake cult from Eastern Kentucky. The ones that... They'll probably hear this and send me a snake or something. But they use the rattlesnakes
seriously,
in their church
snake
services.
Cult listens to the Bar Star podcast.
That's exactly like my thing. It's like people take religion and twist it away from what it is to fit their needs and values. Mm-hmm. You know? It's so prolific right now, especially with the way our political climate is. I mean, it's...
Look at you. You gonna throw some sports at me next?
Well, it is. Yeah, I mean, it's... Yeah. We're going to watch the Niners game later today. Let's go. Me and Scott Clark. Hi, Scott.
Hi, buddy.
We thought we were going to have a good season this year. And then fucking
Stop.
Jimmy Garoppolo
Stop. I'll shut you down. I'll hit stop.
Yeah, so,
you forgot the 3 rules of the show, didn't you?
So literally, I mean, I got the idea because my son watches this family on YouTube, and it's a mom and a dad, and their 3 kids, and the kids are like, 5, 7, and 3, and they make them like do practical jokes on each other and stuff. And I'm just like, who would do that to a 3-year-old? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Dude, there's so much on YouTube.
But they branded themselves, and like the Kardashians are pumping all this stuff. And there's so many references to the Kardashians and Charles Manson and how they really kind of coincide.
They're both cult leaders.
To me, it's kind of gross.
Have you seen the total squirrel moment? It was either one of the Kardashians or somebody like that who is famous for nothing, and they had on a ripped up Slayer t-shirt.
I don't watch any of those shows.
No. It was a picture. I don't watch any of that shit either. There was a picture floating around the internet. I think my homepage is Yahoo, so I get the Yahoo News thing when I go as soon as I open the computer. Anyway, we'll call it one of the Kardashians because I can't remember. And she had on a ripped up Slayer shirt, and somebody took a picture. So Kerry King from Slayer on tour, like 5 shows in a row on tour, he had one of their faces on a t-shirt with a red circle and a slash through it.
That's awesome.
And on the back of his shirt, it said, "Don't wear my fucking shirt."
That's great.
It's like, I love that dude.
I too. It saddens me, like, how much power those people have
for nothing.
I mean, I read once that one of them stopped using one kind of social media site, and it cost the company like $1 billion. Like that shouldn't be a thing. Mm-mm. You shouldn't be able to, as just a normal person, say something and affect the lives of. This is
one of the things I'm about to say is one of the things that makes me an unpopular person, and people think I'm an asshole. Shut the fuck up and think for yourself.
Yeah.
It's not hard. That's great that person has made $1 quadrillion or whatever, but so fucking what? They're not special.
Well,
and if you watch any of that shit, those people are fucking dumb.
I've only been starstruck like twice in my life because I've met so many people that are famous.
Right.
And they're just like nice, they're normal people. They're just people.
Most of them are.
Put them up on a pedestal. But like,
yep.
I met Quincy Jones once and I freaked out. Like, but right in front of him was like Janet Jackson. I'm like, "Hi, Miss Jackson, how you doing?" And then I turned around and went, "Holy shit, you're Quincy Jones." He goes, "Yep." All right. And I'm like, Motown. Like,
Did you? I just started watching the Quincy Jones documentary. I have to finish it.
It's so good.
Did you finish it?
So good.
I didn't finish it. I've already learned a shit ton of stuff.
I mean, the
dude, I didn't know he did all that shit with Frank Sinatra.
Oh my god, yeah.
I had no idea.
He's got hands.
I felt dumb.
Everywhere. Yeah.
I was like, I didn't fucking know that.
Quincy Jones he's not famous. He's iconic. I mean,
no, he's
a nice guy too.
Well, I was going to say I've only been starstruck. Editing, I love it. I've only been starstruck once. Some of those, by the way, I'll keep in. When I met Mike Portnoy, I was he's one of my drumming, I hate to use the word idol, but you know what, most people know what I mean. Yeah. I modeled a lot of my early playing after him. Tommy Lee's the reason I play drums.
Right.
And then I got into Dream Theater, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s or whatever, and I modeled a lot of my playing after him. And when I met him, I went, my name David Tidus. And that was it.
Right.
2 minutes later, I met Rod Morgenstein. If you know anything about drums, Rod Morgenstein's playing with the Dixie Dregs, winger. He's a motherfucking monster. I talked to him for 45 minutes like he was my cousin.
Right.
But I couldn't get a word out to Mike Portnoy. It was the weirdest shit ever.
Well, and most famous people they're just really approachable, but just no one ever does.
No.
But then you get someone that's just total assholes.
Yeah.
And I've met those guys too.
Oh, I've met a few of those.
Clive Davis, you're an asshole. Can I say that?
You can say whatever you want.
Such a total dick.
I do not have FCC regulations, sir.
We did a showcase when I was working with Almost Noah. We did a showcase for Clive Davis in New York City, and it was it's the nastiest music industry thing I've ever done before. Like, they all came in and they left 3 seats open, and they're like, well, when Mr. Davis comes in, don't speak to him, don't say anything, just start playing. Like, he was too good to fucking talk to the band that he was thinking about signing.
Fuck that bullshit.
Instantly, I was like, I don't want to work with this dude. Fuck that.
No. Fuck that.
And they ended up signing Silvertide instead of Almost Noah. Yeah. And I love Silvertide, but he ruined that fucking band.
Well, I think there's everybody gets too big for their britches at some point, but I just think it's, you know what? If I kick you in the nuts right now, you're going to go down. You're not fucking special.
Never be so important that you're too good to talk to the lower people. That just disgusts me.
No, that's lame.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, because I don't want to keep you all day, because we just talked about all your current stuff because you're super smart and all that shit.
I'm super smart.
What is your exact musical background?
Oh, God, you don't know how I got into the music industry, do you?
No, I don't.
Because a lot of people probably don't know this.
You've never told me this story.
So I was a Marine. I got out of the Marine Corps because getting shot at's not fun.
No, it's not. But since you're on a microphone with me, thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome. It is my pleasure. I miss blowing stuff up. Not so much getting shot at, but the blowing stuff up part was fun.
Okay, fair enough.
And it's free when you're in the Marine Corps. You go to the gun range and you're not. It costs a shit ton of money.
It costs money.
I got a rifle right now, and it costs my rents for the rifle are 45-70 rounds. They are $2 a piece.
Ooh.
So I don't shoot that rifle very much.
I would say not.
But I mean, I can remember in the Marine Corps shooting thousands of rounds in a day and just going, "This is great." But I got out and I came home to go to U of L to college, and I started working as a bouncer at Phoenix Hill.
Never heard of it.
So it's like, yeah. And I was upstairs, literally, in the Predators were the big band in town back then.
Right.
This was 1992. Yeah, 1992, 93. And I was upstairs in the roof garden. You know how that stage was? It was like 4 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
And Jeff Crane rolls in his Ampeg 810 cabinet, and I'm up on the stage, and I just leaned over and picked it up with one hand. I was a monster back then. I was in great shape, not the fat man you see before you now.
He is not a fat man, kids.
I literally picked it up onto that stage with one hand. And Jeff goes, "Holy shit, did you just pick that up with one hand?" And I went, "Yeah." He goes, "You want a job?" Because their sound guy just quit. And he starts telling me about it. I'm like, "I don't know how to run sound at all." He's no, you just help us load stuff. And he goes, we'll find another sound man. He goes, "I'll just set the soundboard." They had a whole ton of gigs lined up.
Right.
He's like, "I'll set the soundboard and you just stand behind it and make sure nobody screws with it." I'm like, "Okay."
I can do that.
So I did that for like 3 months. I just stood behind the soundboard. And then I got bored and started playing with the knobs. And then I started reading books. Ted Subaki gave me a book called Yamaha's Sound for Religion. It's a fantastic book. It is, because it teaches you how to run sound in odd-sized spaces.
Right.
And how to fill those sound voids, and bounce stuff around.
Gotcha.
It's a great book. So and then I just... read everything I get my hands on, and then I started running sound for the Predators, and I ran sound for them for a while, and then I started doing lights. I did lights for Whatever Will for a long time, lights for Almost Noah for a while.
Squirrel moment. Who was in Almost Noah?
It's John Paris and Ed Rodheimel and John Anderson, Kevin Garr.
Okay, that's right. When you said Anderson and Garr, I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I worked with them for a while, and then I worked with a bunch of small, original bands too, Breckenridge.
Right.
Element H. I guess they started off as Element H.
Yeah, it was Element H, then Breckenridge, then Heaven Hill.
And then just ran lights for, and tech. Like I used to tech for Brian Fox, and I did that in and out of the music industry for probably 15 years. Like from 2002, from 1992 to 2005.
Nice.
So 23 years.
So
is that right? Did I do the math on there?
Motherfucker,
Math is too hard for me.
I play drums. I count to 4 and 6, and that's it.
I can't count. I can't figure out where to put a comma.
Fuck.
Oh, can I tell you something about writing, by the way? Just because it's pissed me off so much in the last couple of days.
Absolutely.
When you write in all caps, that's not a thing.
No.
It's stupid.
It is stupid. And please.
It doesn't make it's the punctuation at the end of the sentence that makes the sentence louder or softer.
Yes.
Or pausing.
And could you please learn the fucking difference between your and your, please?
2 and 2.
2 and 2?
Yes, and 2.
Well, there's also there and there.
Yeah.
Please.
The funny thing is, I have my edit list, and I'd make those mistakes. I get writing so fast sometimes I just write Y-O-U-R.
Oh yeah.
Instead of Y-O-U''R-E, and I do it a lot. But I have an edit list, and when I'm done, the first thing I do is I go through these 7 words, and it's you and your and two and tour and there, and and I go the word very. I take the word very out, but I use it a lot. I usually leave one very in, but Hemingway said the first thing you should do is go through and cut the word very out because very is a useless word.
You actually told me that in one of your emails.
I love Hemingway. Write drunk, edit sober. That's not him, but. It's credited to him a lot because he was a bit of a drinker. But
we don't know any of those now, do we?
No, not me at all.
All right, so what do you got coming up that you want to plug?
Oh, the film is really actually we're doing right now. I just got done shooting a Van Helsing comedy. So it's kind of like I describe it as. Have you seen the show Grimm?
Yes,
it's Grimm if it were a comedy.
Nice. It's pretty
fun. It's a web series. It's pretty fun.
I started watching Grimm when it first came out, and I got through the first season, and I dug it. And I got 3 or 4 episodes into the second season, and it lost me. I didn't give a shit. And then there was a series on Sci-Fi called Van Helsing, where the chick
girl,
first season fantastic, second season garbage.
Usually it's really the other way. Usually, like season 3 is always the best season of any show because they figured it out and the writers are.
Well, they didn't figure this one out to me, and I think it got shit canned. I think they canceled it
probably
because it was like the first season. The whole concept was fantastic because it wasn't the only nod to any of the original Van Helsing stories was the name. That was about it.
And then that's what this one does. It changes kind of the whole world.
Yeah, that was what that one did. But it was great, and then it just got fucking dumb.
Yeah, hopefully if it gets picked up, we're doing 9 more episodes.
Nice.
When I get back to LA, but that, and then my first feature as a director is kind of, because it's weird. Like there's so many films and TV shows and just so much entertainment made now, and people don't get, like I've done a ton of work in LA, but if you write on something and you're not the principal, right, you don't get credit for it. You just get paid, and I don't really care if I get credit for shit. As long as I get paid, I don't care.
Dude, there comes a point where you still do what you love and you still do it for the art, the fun, and all that, but there needs to be a paycheck.
Yeah, and then along with that comes their right to change whatever you write. So really the only way that you can get your vision is you have to be the multi-hyphenate. You got to be the writer, producer, director.
Gotcha.
So that's what I'm doing. I'm producing, writing, and directing my first feature next year. I'm shooting it all in Louisville because I love Louisville so much.
Nice.
I'm hoping to get a named star to do a small cameo. So if anybody knows Jennifer Lawrence, tell her I've written a very good small budget horror film with all female leads.
Nice.
Half the cast and crew, or more than half the cast and crew are females or people of color. So it's super diverse. And I like my sound recordist, Kara Johnson, amazing. my second AC, Summer Adamowitz, just got a wonderful eye.
Nice.
My line producer, my UPM, both women, Bryce and Andy. I'm telling you, I could not do this without Andy. She is awesome.
Very cool.
Like she's stuff that I don't even know. She's like, you need to do this. I'm like, okay. All right. You just saved the film for like the 12th time today.
Thanks
both,
for that.
Both the antagonists and protagonists are both women, so it ends up in a big battle. I don't know. I was trying to think of this the other day. Can you think of any horror movies where the antagonist and protagonist are both female?
Because horror is not my genre, no. But if I think of one, I will shoot you a message.
I was rethinking about that.
I don't
like
think
Scream
so.
4, I think was, but that's, I don't know. So it ends up in this awesome battle between these two really strong female characters,
right?
So I mean, and they're
Mean Girls.
Well, it can be. Yeah.
Wasn't a horror movie, but if you weren't into that shit, it could be
they're,
viewed
and they're
as horror.
fun. They're really fun characters too. So they're fun to write, especially the mom. She's fucking insane. I mean, she's just shit nuts.
Well, no, that's good though. I was talking to some friends of ours last night, as a matter of fact, and we were talking about how most of the greatest comedy comes from pain and darkness.
Oh yeah,
it's awesome. So when you can mix those elements correctly, to me as a fan of entertainment, that shit's fucking.
Well, beautiful. And I try to do that with my writing, like especially when it's a thriller, because you can't hold that tension for an hour and a half. It's impossible. People will lose it.
Right.
But if you break that tension,
look, girl's gonna run and then she's gonna trip, and dude's gonna walk and still catch her.
If you break it with a joke, then you can build it back up.
Yep.
And I learned that, oddly enough, from Bryan Singer. Bryan Singer wrote a lot of The West Wing, but he wrote the Oscar-winning screenplay Spotlight.
Oh, nice.
So I went to see a Q&A with Bryan, and we watched the movie, and he came out and talked. He only took 2 questions. One was mine, thank God. And I asked, because there's a part in that movie where they figure out it's not 9 priests that are molesting these kids, it's 90. And it's this huge moment. And
that's
fucked
up.
And then everybody's like, oh my God, 90, it's crazy. And he uses that same sentence in the next scene to make a joke where Michael Keaton's like, fucking 90, are you kidding me? It was so funny. And it was the same line. And it amazed me. So I asked him, I'm like, first of all, how much whiskey did you have to drink to like get the courage to write that fucking joke? And where the hell do you find the courage to write that? I mean, it's
right.
In the middle of this horrifying moment, he took time out to relieve the tension with comedy. It was brilliant to me.
Right.
And I love this. So I try kind of, I don't know if I rip him off. I rip everybody off.
Dude, it's 2018.
I steal ideas and appropriate them for myself.
Yes, it's 2018. Everybody rips off everybody. Actually, it's almost 19. It's interesting you said that, because we were talking about that joke, because, and this is soapboxy for me, I think the subtlety of most arts is lost because people are so fucking ADD. They need that constant
push the action, push everything.
The
superhero movies got to be bigger than the last one, and they've lost story a lot.
I think they've lost story, and I think, and I'm talking music too. There people miss the subtleties. Hey, let's take the compression and turn that shit to 10. Right. Let's make the fucking record as loud as possible. Same thing with movies. Let's push everything and then push it up. I think that's one of the reasons why I like Guardians of the Galaxy, both of those so much, because I'm not a
James Gunn, man. Hire that dude back, seriously.
Well,
seriously,
that's more your wheelhouse. I just know, meaning I don't know everything else he's done, because I'm not a superhero kind of. I get it. It's not my thing, but I love both of those movies, and the reason
I don't know if I could write one. I think I know I could.
Right. I think you could write anything.
I still know I would.
But what I'm getting at is, I dug those movies because of the subtleties that were in that movie. As much bullshit it was going on, there was still a few subtleties, like Batista, the guy that plays.
Drax.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Some of this time when he's not talking and he's turning his head and he looks at you like he got 5 heads, people miss that because people do that shit in real life.
Oh, I just watched him in this the movie Hotel Artemis. Have you seen that?
No, but I want to. I saw a preview for that.
So good in that movie,
dude. He's a great actor.
Jodie Foster's great because she's Jodie Foster, but
she's
Batista.
He's a great
really
actor.
Impressed me with his skills in that.
Well, there's I don't know if you know anything about wrestling, and I've said probably 2 or 6 months ago, whenever I was eventually going to do a whole episode on wrestling. I will still do it. I'm waiting on somebody to text me back.
In high school and the Marine Corps.
Right. Okay.
And I coached a wrestling camp.
So you know about actual quote unquote real wrestling or amateur wrestling.
Well, that's freestyle Olympic style wrestling. I mean,
right. Yeah. I'm talking about like pro wrestlers, like what Batista used to be.
Yeah.
What people, I don't think people give those dudes enough credit because every fucking one of them's an actor.
Oh yeah,
it's
entertainment, but physical entertainment. It's
absolutely. But a lot of that shit, like when they're live on TV, it has a lot of you have improv, to go and improv. And I think when the guys that grasp that concept go on to be The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson. Yeah. I mean, he's the biggest fucking actor in Hollywood right now. John Cena's starting to do movies. Batista's doing well in his movies.
Thank you, Dwayne Johnson, for helping my movie. So here's the thing about Dwayne Johnson. So China now is like the 3rd biggest film market in the world. Mm-hmm. I think it might be even 2nd. And a huge market, but very hard for American films to get into.
Right.
Because of the way they release the films. And Dwayne Johnson's movie Skyscraper is the first American film to be released on a summer weekend in China ever.
No shit.
They shot it mostly in Hong Kong, so it's technically a Chinese film, but because he did that, even with the stuff that our government's doing, all the embargoes they're putting on them, they're starting to accept more American media.
Right.
So we're kind of doing a little sneaky with my wife is Thai, so we started a production company in Thailand, and the film we're making is actually going to be a Thai film, so we can release it in Asia more easily because the market's so big. And America will eat any movie. It just it doesn't matter where it's from. We'll buy it and sell it. And,
we don't.
China doesn't work that way. So
right. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, and especially like ultra low budget movies, they don't want them. They want big stars, big names. So now if I've got a small Thai film, I can get it into most of Asia through that umbrella.
Nice.
So this is not going to be a small time local release film. This is a global. We're hoping for a theatrical release. It just depends on how we do distribution. We're doing that next week, so we're going to talk to a bunch of those guys next week.
Nice.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Well, very cool.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
You're just a man of many talents. You make me feel shitty.
You know what I'm really good at? I'm really good at putting teams together. Logistics. I'm smart enough to hire people that make me look good. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I can hire people that do know what they're doing. And then they just do all the work, and I take all the credit.
The reason I'm laughing,
and I'm the writer. Yeah.
True. The reason I'm laughing so hard at that is because people that are not in my circle have asked me specifically about this show. They're like, dude, how many people you know? I'm like, motherfucker, I'm a one-man show. I do everything. Yeah. And I take credit only because I have to take credit for the fuck up.
This is the first
I'm not smart enough to hire people.
It's the first time in my career where I'll be actually behind the camera and just worrying about what's in frame.
Oh, nice.
Because I usually am like you. I do like everything I've shot till now. Mm-hmm. I with this Van Helsing thing we shot the other day, I was the cameraman. I did sound. I was light. I was gaffer. I did it all.
Nice.
We shot it in my friend's apartment, low budget.
What the fuck does a gaffer do? I see that all the time in movie credits.
They set the lighting tone of the movie. So they're the person that works with the director of photography to get the light look of the whole film.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And let me tell you what, the circle of confusion is what I call it. There are endless amounts of jobs on a film.
Oh, I know that. But sometimes
I'm like, my film is going to be small, and we're still got a crew of like 30.
Right. Well, sometimes when you see the credits, I'll watch them every now and then and go, the fuck is a key grip? There's a grip and then a key grip.
Yeah, key grip just means he gets more money. And he gets to tell everybody else what to do. It's like, no, put that over there. He's the boss. Yeah.
How many grips does your key grip have under him?
So that's the thing, though. Like this film, we're going to have a key grip and a grip, and that's it. Right. We're in a feature film, like a big studio film. You've got 20 grips. I mean,
And what do they do?
Hundreds. They're the blue collar muscle. They're the guys that really get the film made. You know, it's like they're the ones that bring in the dollies and
set design moving the set design.
Yeah, they move and build the set, and they they help you light it, and it's they do a lot of stuff.
Nice,
and they work their butts off, man. And they're always there first. They're the roadies of movies. They're always there first, leave last. You know,
that's cool.
So I know more respect for Crips than probably any, because they work their butts off, man.
Right.
I mean, the stuff they carry is heavy, and it's just a shit ton. And I'm done. I'm done rolling cables, man. I don't do that shit anymore. I've rolled so many millions of miles of cable.
Stacy gets on me all the time. She's like, "When are you gonna hire a drum tech?" I'm like, I always say, when I make enough fucking money where it doesn't hurt me.
Right? Yeah.
Because I do not want to schlep my gear anymore.
Oh, I hate it.
I'm so tired of it.
Can't stand it. I don't even like picking up cameras. It's like, John, you use the camera. Can I just watch the monitor? No, I don't really want to watch the monitor. I just want to watch the actors. Yeah. So yeah, this is the first time that I'm going to be standing behind the camera and not doing 20. So I don't know how that's going to.
Nice.
It's going to feel weird.
I think you'll dig it.
But I think it's going to make for a better movie, because I've noticed that when I shoot stuff and I'm doing multi jobs. Mm-hmm. When I go back to edit later, there are things in the frame that I missed that I would have seen.
Gotcha.
Had I not been worried about so much stuff. Like I shot a film about veteran suicide not too long ago, and there's a critical scene in it where you're looking at a family across the way and how close they are to this guy, and they have no idea he's going through these struggles. And I didn't stage it quite right. Had I had the mom just slide like 6 inches to the right, her face would have been in frame, and it would have made such a better shot. You could see her when she leans back and forth, but because I was so busy and I was on the camera, I missed it. And it would have been, it's a lot of stuff that's not noticeable to. You don't know you notice it, but if it's not there, you feel it. It's like how you set up the foreground and the background of a shot makes all the difference when you're looking at perspective. So
no, that makes sense. I'm by no stretch of the imagination a movie buff or a movie critic or anything, but there are certain things that I notice all the time. Weren't you just holding a blue solo
continuity,
cup, motherfucker? Continuity,
yeah, it's huge. I was watching a movie last night, and the continuity, whoever the script supervisor was on, it was horrible. It was because it was back. I mean, there was a woman in the background, and they would show her, in her single shot, and she'd be bouncing around and talking on the phone, and then they'd show the wide shot, and she's sitting there, and she doesn't have her phone in her hand. She's got a blank expression on her face, like. You didn't just shoot that. Those are 2 different days when you shot that thing, and I could tell right away.
From an insider's perspective, is how they fucked it up. I just know that it's fucked up.
Yeah, and when everybody does, it's the thing. So I'm looking forward.
Your hand was not there 2 seconds ago.
I'm looking forward to being the guy who gets to focus on the frame for once. So
nice. Well, you got any websites or any of that bullshit you want to plug?
I just went to. We're working with a local media company called Mightily. They're creating all that stuff now.
Nice.
Run by my friend, Lisa Siebert. Her and I used to be the president of Lamia a long time ago, and Lisa was like the CEO of Lamia or something. I don't know. She was like the big cheese, and I was just the guy who carried stuff.
Right. She married to Greg?
Greg Siebert.
Yeah. It took me a second to put that together.
Yeah, she started this local media company, and she's doing it really well. I mean, she is killing it. We went and talked to them yesterday, so they're going to create a package for us with all that stuff. I'm so non-social media website-y guy. Like, I barely have time to look on my Facebook page. And I don't even think is Facebook even a thing anymore? I can't keep track of that crap.
It is. It's slowly becoming not a thing from my perspective, and
I've got all those. I've got like Instagram, and I've got Facebook, and I've got WeChat, and all that.
I don't even know what the fuck a WeChat is.
WeChat's what they use in China. They use it for everything.
Gotcha.
Everything. I've got like Line. I've got all these. Line they use in Asia quite a bit, and they use in South America. It's great for calling overseas because you can call on the internet as opposed to.
Oh, that's cool.
But I never use any of them. I post pictures of my kids on Facebook so my mom can see them, and that's pretty much all.
Right. Well, what's funny is today is the first day you've actually called me from your phone. I've never had your phone number until today. All of our communication has been Facebook Messenger or email.
Yeah, I don't. It's easier to get hold of me through email than it is for a phone because I don't answer my phone ever.
No, I don't give a shit. I just thought it was funny because when I was sitting in here, and I won't say it on the show, but when I was sitting in here, I looked at the number that was calling me, and I was like,
"Fucking Montana."
Oh, okay, fine.
Okay.
I was like, what I don't fucking know anybody in Montana. Oh, wait, it's Sunday. Yeah. I bet that's Todd.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, I lived in Montana for a little while and got my phone up there, and I like that it's a different number. The funny part for it is for me though, Montana only has one area code for the entire state. And living in Los Angeles, I can literally look out my window and see like 3 area codes.
Atlanta's the same way.
I know. It's like so many fucking numbers. Montana's, everybody has that reaction. They're like, Montana? Who the hell is that?
Yeah, so, fucking know anybody.
Once they figure out it's me, it's like, oh, nobody else is going to call me from Montana but Todd.
Yeah, I don't even need to save that number. It's only fucking Montana number. Well, dude, I appreciate you taking the time.
Oh man, it's a blast. I couldn't figure out why you asked me to be on here, but it was fun. I don't rate, to be honest.
Stop self-deprecating. I asked you on for a couple of reasons. One, because you were in fucking town. No, I'm just kidding.
See, but you didn't know. You didn't know that I used to do a morning radio show. I used to do the morning show on the Fox.
No, I did not. You told me that one before I hit record.
And went right before Clear Channel bought the world. And syndicated Howard Stern. Howard Stern took my job.
Right. So, well, it's I listen to many a podcast, and one of the things that people are starting to talk about is how terrestrial radio is trying to get rid of the personalities,
right,
so to speak, and they're trying to format the terrestrial radio as somebody's playlist, and it's not working, and people are leaving in droves because the personalities are gone.
Right.
Some people actually do want to hear people talk shit about other things.
The only radio station I listen to anymore is NPR.
Right.
If I want music, I'm listening to it off my phone.
Exactly.
I'm listening to what I want to when I want to.
Right. But what I was going to say, the reason I wanted you on the show was a couple of reasons. One, you have an interesting story with the whole film thing, because I didn't know that until you and I started talking, because I think it was Kevin Manning that told me to send you my book.
Oh, nice. I love Kevin.
I do too.
Such nice. He was at Fox Bench.
Hey, how are y'all doing? It's Kevin. I have a couple impressions. That one was horrible. Anyway, and then when we reconnected, when the other Kevin McCreary passed, that was one thing. And the other thing was, besides you have an interesting story and what you've done in film, is you were gracious enough and took the time to read my book.
Oh, just a thing, man. Is I will always be the dude that supports local artists, no matter what. I mean, I've been to so many shows, and I'm never the guy that asks for a free ticket to get in.
Oh, I'm not either.
Terry
Harper gives me shit up about that. He's like, you never asked me. I'm like, I'm not that fucking guy.
You shouldn't.
I will pay.
If you want to support local arts, just pay.
Yeah.
You don't need to save $5 at a,
fuck no.
We have Jay Ballinger is done really well for himself. He's Dirk Bentley's production manager now.
Mm-hmm. I don't. It's funny. Him and I have crossed paths a million times, and I know everybody that he knows, and him and I have never met.
Yeah, Jay's like a unicorn, man.
But
he's awesome dude.
I don't think he's real. He's fake. He's not a real person.
Awesome dude, and he's playing. Last week he played the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, nice.
Dirks, but getting a ticket in LA. Anybody who asks for a free ticket in LA is a dick.
Oh,
it's the hardest place in the world to get. And he's like, I can't really give you. I'm like, I would never even. I'm like, you want to go have some coffee though? That'd be great.
Yeah,
I fucking want to come to.
Yeah,
I love their. I've seen you guys play a million times. I saw them when they were up in Montana. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, that's a different story than going out to a bar and supporting local music, because Dirks is making millions of bucks.
Right.
And he's worked his ass off to get there.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
Amazing what he does, but he ain't got the the $5 that comes out of the band's pocket that you're going to see. It comes out of their pocket.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They pay for it, so it's But I'll always be that guy. I don't mind reading stuff.
Right.
I read voraciously. You know,
You do. You told me that before.
I've got 7 scripts to read this weekend. I'll probably go read 3 or 4 of them in the next couple hours. So, I'm blazed through them. Scripts are so fast for me.
Right.
And I could see, I know what's going on with most of them almost, like I said, almost instantly. But I don't say I read every single page of every single script, but I try.
Right.
Just because someone put the effort into it. And
Absolutely.
They deserve at least that.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna know immediately. And I felt when Manning told me that you were a screenwriter and you wrote in Hollywood and all that kind of stuff, he said, well, just send him your book. And I went, he'll know within the first fucking 5 paragraphs if it's worth a shit. Mm-hmm. And you read the whole thing, so I was like, yeah, at least I won that.
I mean, honestly, first page is all, and it's really all you get in Hollywood. So,
oh yeah,
the big format. I'm a format Nazi. I am, because to break in, and that's why I tell all the people that I read their screenplays in that, like format, because the people who are reading those screenplays and those manuscripts, the books and stuff, they do that for a living.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So the second that they open the file, if your format is wrong, you've
Trash.
already lost them.
Oh,
You've
yeah.
already lost them. Like most Hollywood studios and agents, if it's improperly formatted, won't even read it. They'll just throw it in the trash.
That doesn't surprise me.
So take the time to learn the skill.
Right.
And then I still make format errors. I was putting fade in on the left for my entire life. And I just found out 6 weeks ago or 6 months, 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago, something like that it goes on the right. It's a transition. I had no idea. I had to have a master's level screenwriter. The guy had an MFA from UCLA. Told me that, and he's like, everybody does it. Nobody knows, but that's not where it goes. So,
Holy
and
shit.
everybody makes that mistake. Everybody does. I had no idea. And screenwriting, it's fluid. It changes. The rules change. So you got to kind of keep up with it,
Right.
Like I've noticed recently that, and I don't know if it's a part of the Me Too movement or what, but people don't write, writers aren't writing descriptives of their people anymore. So they don't tell you what they look like anymore. They tell you who they are emotionally with their descriptions. So it's not, long blonde hair and glasses. It's, he is a deeply introspective man, like they tell you who they are and not what they are anymore. And it didn't used to be that way. It used to be all about the visual description of the person. And I've stopped aging my characters. I don't put an age on them, because if I put an age on them, unless it's pertinent to the story,
right.
If I put an age on them, it limits your view. So you as the reader instantly apply that age to them, and you're not using what you would see in your eye.
Gotcha.
And if I can get you to activate your own imagination in something that I've written, I got you.
No, fair enough. That makes sense.
Like you'll follow the story more because you're connecting with it more.
Right.
And I'm giving you the opportunities to do that. And it changes. It's really cool. I love it. I love writing.
Yes, you do.
I really do. I'm such a fucking nerd.
No, you're not, dude. I love reading. I love writing, but I will be honest with you, other than being in my 8th round of edits, I don't write anything else. I don't sit around and write stuff. And I don't have a real particular reason for it. I just don't. And I think it's because I don't want to do the freelance thing. I don't want to do journalism. I don't want to write art. I don't want to write anything other than either books or stories. And I'm not doing any of that till I get my first book published.
Dude, I have to write. It's my.
I have to do this.
It's my therapy. Yeah. Where this is how you relieve your stress.
Yep.
I relieve all my stress on the page.
And for those of you
It's
that know I don't have a
stupidly
camera,
cathartic.
I'm pointing at my beautiful drum kit.
It is pretty.
We're sitting beside. What do you think we are? 6 inches from this damn thing?
Maybe.
Part of my gear is sitting on top of my gear. That's kind of cool. You see how I did that?
Gear
on gear. Uh-huh. All right, dude. We're gonna end this thing.
Cool. Thanks for having me, man. It was fun.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
And I'm telling you right now, when we come back to shoot the film, we're gonna need a whole ton of extras.
All right.
So we're doing.
I have a
so I'm
specific
going
look.
tomorrow. I'm going tomorrow to tour the Jephthah Creed facility where we're going to shoot hopefully the majority of the movie. And the final scene is like a huge battle. But I need.
You need a bald, tattooed white trash motherfucker?
Tons of white people extras to kill.
Yes.
We're going to set somebody on fire. It's going to be great. Yeah.
I'm not signing up for that. I'll sign up to be killed.
That's our stuntman, our stunt coordinator, John Lania. He's like, can you set me? He like literally asked me if I could set him on fire. I'm like, he goes, will you write a burn in? Like, okay, I'll do that if we can have a sword fight too, because John's like a sword master. He did. Have you ever seen the movie 47 Ronin? Keanu Reeves.
Yes, it's been a long time.
John does all the sword work in that movie. That's John.
Oh, very cool.
The sword. That's not
nice.
Keanu Reeves. No, that's John.
Well,
when he fights the guy and the guy with the skull tattoo on his face, that's John doing all the sword work there.
Oh, nice. So, yeah. Very cool. Awesome.
So he's a 2-time XMA World Sword Champion, and he trained the guy underneath him who won the next 6 in a row. So
John utilizing
is a badass. Utilizing this, I call him my flippy friend. Yeah, he calls me Big Fatty.
Oh
no, it's an inside joke.
I know, but that's just sad.
It's funny to me,
dude. It's funny as fuck. Fuck off.
I know I'm fat and I know I'm bald. You can't get me with those jokes, man. I call myself fat and bald way more than you do.
That's it. We're out.
All right, man.
High five in the microphone.
Thanks, brother.
I love your face.
That was awesome.
Well, that's it, kids. That's the show for the week. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you dug it. I hope you got something out of it. And I'm going to just assume, which is the worst thing you can do because assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups. But I'm going to assume that you learned a lot of shit from Todd. I learned a lot of stuff. It was a very cool conversation. He's such a cool dude, and he's done so many things. And I'm excited that he's coming back to Louisville so him and I can spend more time together and I can pick his brain. I dig hanging out with people that are smarter than me, which is pretty much everybody I know because I'm fucking dumb. But it was a cool conversation, and I'm glad he made the time. And I hope you guys dug this episode, and I hope you got something out of it. Keep in mind to always check the website now and always check back with the show because I've got some cool stuff coming up. I'm horrible at social media. I'm trying to get better. I really am working on that. But soon, very, very soon, within the next week or two, I will have a way on the website where you can purchase merchandise if you do so choose. And all that does is supports this show. It takes a lot of time and effort and a little bit of money to put this show on for free every week for you guys. So it just helps me out and you can support the show. As of right now, all I have are t-shirts. Yes, I do. I have t-shirts, kids. You will see them very, very soon once I get over my technology stupid hump and I can actually put them up on the website. But that would be awesome if you guys could do that. I think you'll dig the shirts. I dig the shirts. I've shown a couple people and they're like, oh man, that's cool. So I will not spoil it anymore. I will tell you that and I will leave that there. Don't forget, check back next week. I will have a pretty cool guest, pretty cool hang. Couple announcements on that show next week. So I'm looking forward to that and I hope you guys are too. So that's it. I'm out of here. I'm going to go beat Sebastian and I'm just kidding. I'm not going to beat my cat. He's awesome. He talks too damn much though. As you guys figured out last week, he talks a lot. He talks a lot. He talks a lot. Oh my God, he talks a lot. So obnoxious. But I love him. He's my little fur baby. He's my little dude. I guess I should start putting pictures of him up. I don't really know. Anyway, as I say at the end of every episode, go do some shit. Seriously, get the fuck out of here. Beat it. Go watch a movie. Go learn how to write. Go write. If you haven't written already. If you do know how to write and you haven't written anything, go write something. If you haven't watched a movie in a while, go watch a movie. Look for the continuity in movies. That's always fun. That's always a blasting. You guys are awesome. I will see you next week, or you will hear me next week. See you. I can't fucking see. What the fuck am I talking? I don't even know. So until next time, I will talk at you soon.